Alright, what's up guys? So WrestleMania has uploaded a video titled 10 WWE wrestlers Vince McMahon personally hated. Yeah, let's go ahead. I think it's that, is it that one guy's father that like something like, what's the guy's name? He was going by, I think he was gonna go by his like father's name or something, or not his father's name, but like take the last name. Who are they calling him now? Like Backbreaker on NXT or something? They calling him something, I don't know. But anyways, but I think they show that guy's father in here and stuff. So I was like, you know, let me see some wrestlers Vince McMahon don't like, because I'm curious and stuff. But nah, if you guys haven't, make sure you go subscribe to WrestleMania for more videos like this. And then that being said, let's go ahead and get into this video.
There are certain superstars who WWE Chairman Vince McMahon has always had a solid and healthy relationship with. Superstars such as John Cena, The Undertaker, Triple H, and even Roman Reigns have formed close bonds with Vince, and this has benefited them throughout their WWE career.
Yes.
However, there are certain superstars over the years that Vince has grown to dislike both professionally and personally, and for the most part, this opinion has never changed. But which wrestlers are they? Well, join us now as WrestleMania.
With Ryback, I'm like, didn't he he would injure a lot of people? So I'm like, yeah, you're injuring his talent. And I'm like, and then putting them on the shelves, and then trying to like make it where the spotlight's on you. And yeah, it's like, bro, you can't do. I'm pretty sure it wasn't that, but I'm like, you are injuring a lot of wrestlers and stuff. So
looks at 10 WWE superstars that Vince McMahon legitimately hated.
That microphone. Like he like taking a microphone and rubbing it against his chest or something. Anyways.
Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Number 10, Scott Steiner. When Scott Steiner rejoined the WWE in 2002, the relationship between himself and Vince McMahon seemed to be healthy enough. However, over the next few months, this would all change. Steiner would be positioned in a high-profile feud with Triple H for the world title, but sadly, Steiner's quality of work was so poor that Vince saw no future in him as a main event talent.
Dang.
Following Steiner's departure in 2004, he
Wow.
would spend the rest of his career in other companies such as TNA, and would never step foot in a WWE ring ever again. As a result of the soured relationship between Steiner and WWE, Steiner would be rather public in his opinions in relation to Vince and his extended family.
His douchebag daughter, you know, and as you know, then Triple H, he wouldn't be in wrestling if he wouldn't be f***ing a boss's daughter. So, you know.
All of these comments were
Wow.
inappropriate in nature, and as a result, Steiner has been outright banned from all WWE events, including
That's
the
crazy.
WWE Hall of Fame by Vince himself. Number 9, Cedric
Dang.
Alexander. Cedric Alexander still remains on the WWE roster, but this
I
doesn't
know,
take
like-
away from the fact that it's clear that Vince McMahon isn't a fan of the former Cruiserweight champion. This all started when Cedric ignored a direct order from Vince, and as a result, a number of high-profile superstars, including Kurt Angle, saw this as the beginning of the end for Cedric's healthy relationship with the WWE chairman. In 2019, it was reported that Vince wanted to bury Cedric as much as possible during a match with AJ Styles, and this actually led to Cedric responding to these claims, and naturally, he rebutted him. When Cedric joined the popular Hurt Business stable in 2020, it wasn't before long that WWE separated the group and Cedric was moved down the card. It's clear that Vince began to dislike Cedric when he disobeyed his orders, and it remains unclear if this rocky relationship could ever be healed. Number 8.
That's something like I don't know, like that's something where I'm like, okay, now I gotta like sneak into like the WWE or something, like I don't know, become a wrestler myself just so I could like see. And I'm like, well, ain't nothing happening between. Okay, I'm putting in my retirement papers, like, but no, like, dang, that's crazy. I never would have thought like Cedric would have been on this list. I'm like, that's crazy, dang. I'm like, nah, yeah, I mean, if he does leave, if there's one thing we look up and he's like in Impact Wrestling or AEW, then it's like, I mean, hey, then maybe there is some beef and tension between them. But I'm like, I don't know, I feel like that Cedric, he gets his TV time, and you know, it's interesting when he is on TV. Maybe it's just the love that fans have for him or something. I don't know, but anyway, because I'm saying he kind of had like that little rivalry with Shelton Benjamin, and then you know, then it's like they formed their tag team again, and so I don't know, man, I don't know, but anyways.
Nails. For those not aware, Nails was a character that debuted into WWE in the early 90s. The character was an ex-prisoner who claimed that he had been abused in prison by the Big Boss Man. Now, Nails was nothing special in the ring, and a number of people in WWE have stated that Nails thought he should have been a major star in the company. But in one of the craziest stories in WWE history, Nails actually physically attacked Vince McMahon in what was supposed to be a civil meeting between the chairman and one of his talents.
Wow.
According to Bret Hart, this is how the confrontation went down. Vince had
you trying to get fired
in Green Bay. For the past 6 months, he'd been building Kevin Wachholz as a psycho killer ex-con named Nails. Kevin cornered Vince in his office and screamed at him for 15 minutes about all the lies he'd been told. His yelling got so loud I got goosebumps up my neck as I listened from down the hall. Suddenly, there was a loud crash. Nails had knocked Vince over his chair, choking him violently until Lanza, Slaughter, and a swarm of agents teamed up to pull him off. Nails walked out and immediately called the police and accused Vince of making a sexual advance towards him. Vince was charged as sexual assault. The charges were dropped soon after. Some of the boys actually admired Nails for snatching Vince while covering his tracks to not get charged himself. The last thing Vince wanted was another scandal. Following the intense outburst, Nails would be quite rightly blacklisted from the WWE by Vince and would never be mentioned by the company ever again.
I was about to say, because I was like, this would be my first time hearing about him. I've never heard of this man until now.
Number 7, Rusev. Rusev had a complex relationship with Vince McMahon. When Rusev debuted on the main roster, he was presented well and he received a major push. However, when Rusev began to show more personality, this didn't sit well with Vince. The relationship was truly shattered when Rusev became incredibly popular thanks to the Rusev Day character. Rusev would become one of the most over superstars in the entire WWE, but Vince simply believed that WWE fans were mocking Rusev with the chant. Vince had no plans to push Rusev as a major babyface, and as the reactions got louder, Vince's dislike of Rusev and his character grew. This mindset was completely backwards and completely flawed. At one stage, the relationship between WWE and Rusev was on such bad terms that Rusev actually asked for his WWE release. This was when Vince personally added Rusev to the WrestleMania 34 card, but this did little to change Rusev's happiness or alter Vince's established opinion on the former US champion. Fast forward to 2020 and Rusev will be released by WWE with the official reasoning being...
I know, bro, I'm telling you, with that whole Rusev Day, I don't think nobody was mocking him. Bruh, I'm telling you, because it was funny at my old job, there's a chef that worked there, and he was also a wrestling fan. And that was like an ongoing, between us, it was a joke. But I think we took that stuff seriously. Like, people, if a wrestling fan approach you, they ask you what day is it, you be like, it's Rusev Day, bro. It's Rusev Day every day. But dang, man, that's crazy. Now he's making his name in the AEW. But I'm just, that's crazy. That's just, man. I don't know, I liked it. I thought it was cool. And with him adding personnel, but I'm like, that's what I actually was gonna say. I'm like, but isn't it the writers that do that? Or do the wrestlers? Because so here's my question. Is it the writers, or did Rusev, go and was like, hey, I want to have more personality or something, then that's what didn't sell it too well? Because I'm like, well, yeah, if you guys got him as this monstrous killing machine, how long is that gonna last? Eventually he is gonna have to change, just like how every other wrestler changes throughout the WWE and stuff. So, but anyways,
budget cuts. But it was clear that Rusev had fallen out of favor with the WWE chairman a long time ago. Number 6, Randy Savage. During the 80s and early 90s, Macho Man Randy Savage was one of the biggest stars in WWE. For the most part, Savage had a great relationship with Vince. However, this began to change when Vince wanted to position Savage as a commentator on Raw. Savage believed that he had a lot more left to offer the company from a wrestling perspective, but Vince believed that he was simply too old to be wrestling. Savage was only in his early 40s during this time. Compare this to today's WWE.
I know,
the case that superstars win their first world title in their 40s.
Well, it seems like wrestlers today are a lot more healthier. Not trying to say anything bad about the older wrestlers and stuff, but based off of some of the things I heard, I'm like, I ain't gonna say it was all wrestlers, but I'm just saying, read some things, and I've seen some things. I'm like, yeah, some of them older wrestlers, I'm like, I think if it was a toss up between, I think that they're a lot more tougher But the wrestlers today are a lot more like, I feel like they take a lot more healthier precautions and stuff when getting into the ring. So
when
anyways,
Savage departed the WWE in '94 for WCW, he would never return to the company. It was believed that Savage was blacklisted from the company and that Vince wanted nothing to do with the former multi-time WWE champion, as he took it rather personally that Savage jumped to WCW. Number 5, Dusty Rhodes. By the time Dusty Rhodes arrived in WWE in 1989, he was already a household name. However, when he signed for the WWE, Vince McMahon decided to give Dusty a gimmick which involved a former WCW champion wearing polka dots. The gimmick was given to Dusty because Vince wanted to embarrass him as much as possible, and it was said that Vince was never really a fan of his work. With Dusty now in WWE, Vince finally believed he had control.
Now look, it's like he's one of the biggest names in wrestling ever, and same with his sons.
Over his destiny. Interestingly, Dusty would eventually be heavily involved in development and subsequent success of NXT. According to those in WWE, Dusty and Triple H had a tremendous relationship, which appeared to be a total contrast to the complex and hostile relationship between Dusty and Vince. Number 4, Gail Kim.
Yeah.
To sum up the relationship between
I kind of, it was, now her name ain't surprising to me on this list because I've heard some like previous, I think it was previous WrestleMania videos I've watched where, Gail Kim, she did not enjoy her time because I think her last match, she just walked out and stuff. So
Vince McMahon look no further than the time that
it was like a women's like royal or something like that, and she just walked out.
You need to know. The issues between the two started when Gail was a massive advocate for women's wrestling, but during Gail's time in the WWE,
she was an extremely talented wrestler.
Direction. According to various sources, including Jim Ross, Vince wasn't a fan of Gail's appearance, and as a result, this meant that he had no interest in pushing her. When Gail left the WWE in 2011, the hostility didn't stop there, as Gail had spent the best part of the next decade sharing stories in relation to how Vince didn't like her and how she was held down by him. Number 3, Cesaro.
Okay, Cesaro. I'm like, now I feel like this list is like, what are these names, bro? I feel like they're just throwing random names. Cesaro is one of the biggest wrestlers of our time. Then with that push he kind of had for like WrestleMania with him and Seth Rollins. Yeah, okay, let's just see.
Assumed that Vince McMahon wasn't a fan of the Swiss Superman Cesaro. This was confirmed when Vince appeared on Stone Cold's podcast and confirmed that he wasn't a fan of him and that he'd failed to grab the brass ring. Vince would even declare that Cesaro wasn't a draw, implying that Cesaro could never make him any substantial amount of money. And for Cesaro's boss to publicly slate him on a WWE production wasn't the best look for anyone involved. Cesaro has had a number of stop-start pushes in his time in the WWE, but these have always fallen flat, and it's unknown why Vince decided to push Cesaro, suddenly change his mind, and then move him down the card. Number 2, Christian. Christian is well established.
I guess I could see Christian on this list.
Vince McMahon has never seemed to be too big of a fan of the former world champion. According to Bruce Pritchard, Vince wasn't a fan of Christian because he preferred larger-than-life figures and didn't think Christian had a great appearance. So much so that Vince actually disliked showing Christian on camera due to how much he disliked his appearance. Additionally, there were even rumors that Vince wanted to place a blue dot over Christian whenever he appeared on WWE television. This was so Vince personally wouldn't have to see Christian's face and he could focus on producing the show instead of being distracted by his appearance. And number 1, CM Punk. When CM Punk first
knew he was
made his
gonna
WWE
be
debut back in 2006,
on this list.
It was clear that Vince McMahon didn't get what Punk was about as a performer. This continued throughout Punk's career, and the two would have a lot of conflicting opinions in relation to Punk's character and how he should be presented.
Dang.
The two had a rather public fallout in 2014, which led to Punk's WWE departure, and this fallout even involved Punk receiving his release papers on the day of his wedding.
Yeah, I remember
Vince
that.
denies that this wasn't deliberate, Punk believes that Vince clearly wanted him to feel as bad as possible on the happiest day of his life. In recent years, it's been reported.
I wouldn't. I had just been like, if I would have received some papers like that, I probably would have stood up on the table and been like, I'm finally free or some stuff, you know? Like, I'm like, but I ain't gonna let it like spoil my day. I just been like, all right, well, I'm like, so be it. I'm still gonna have a good day today. I'm getting married, so I'm like, why would I be mad or anything? So
Vince doesn't like Punk in any capacity, and he believes that Punk has issues. When there were rumors that Punk was returning to wrestling in the summer of 2021, it was said that Vince had zero interest in bringing him back. The fact that Vince has always been willing to bring back talent, who's even held him up for money in the past, just goes to show how much hatred Vince has for the current AEW wrestler.
Yeah.
There you have it, folks. 10 WWE superstars that Vince McMahon
that was a good video.
hates. Be sure to leave your comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.
Yeah, I'm like, CM Punk, you should we all should have known that he was gonna be on this list, because that was my computer. I was just making sure audio is working and stuff. But yeah, I that's something I'm like, yeah, it makes sense that he's number one. But it seemed like, yeah, it was like a lot of wrestlers where I'm like, I've heard some things and stories about, you know, their relationship with Vince McMahon, so it didn't really surprise me, especially with Gail Kim. I was like, yeah, I knew she was gonna be on that list, because now, like I was saying, like, I think she was like, yeah, she was in this like women's like battle royale match, and I don't know whether she messed up or she just wasn't feeling it or something. They say she just left, and so I was like, oh, okay. And then, yeah, and I think she went back to like TNA, or no, now Impact. But I think, yeah, there was like she went to back to TNA at the time, and then it was like, that was it. That was the last of her and stuff. But I think she's still like a talented wrestler. I was like, I remember the times when, because no, like I remember like hearing about her name a lot when I had gotten into wrestling, and, you know, when I was a kid and stuff. And so I was just like, when she finally showed back up on WWE, I was like, oh, okay, you know, all right, let me see. And I was like, oh, she is good. So, but I don't know, man. I'm like, yeah, it must be just, you know, a problem just between, yeah, her and Vince, and then same with every other wrestler and stuff. But the Cesaro one was crazy. I was thinking like, what? No. Then when I seen why, I was like, oh, well, then there you go. So, but anyways, yeah, that was crazy, man. This is a pretty good video. Shout out to WrestleMania for that. Make sure, if you guys haven't, go subscribe to him. Subscribe to me too, and I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you guys for watching, and peace.